There's two different ways to grow your business. You can grow it by increasing the number of leads, or you can do it by increasing the conversion rate.
If you have a video on a house tour and you're getting 200 views on it and you're unhappy, so you're trying to change things about your business to make that go away, it's because you're comparing yourself to Ryan Serhant, or you're comparing yourself to me, or you're comparing to someone in your office who's buying the views or buying the likes. In reality, an average home walkthrough is going to get a minimum amount of people that care. You're never going to go viral on it.
I think with social media, we're losing what's real and what's not. And like anybody can go lease a Lamborghini for a photo. Anybody can put fake money in a picture. Anybody can do lots of these things. They can, fake it one night. But what you can't do is you can't fake having an actual billboard that costs a lot of money that people know takes a big expense to run the business up in a local city. So when people drive by and they take that, you can't fake it. What's kind of your take on that with social media? Like what's real and what's not?
Kind of like you said about the billboards and stuff. It showed credibility a lot because I had one billboard. That was my very first one, and blasted all over social media. All my friends think I'm a millionaire. Just that perception alone, like you could sell 2 houses a year. You put a billboard up there, people think you're a millionaire. Social media, like now, especially with the blue check mark and followers and views, I think too many agents are trying to impress too many agents. And everyone needs to understand real estate's fucking boring. No one gives a shit about real estate outside of real estate. Like nobody. The only people that care about real estate is real estate agents and lenders.
Now, guys, in business, if you don't have attention, you don't have a business. And today we have an expert on the call. His name is Justin Mercer. Some of you guys know him as Call Tattoo. You cannot go into his local market, and he'll tell you where that is here in just a second. I'm going to let him kind of go over all the DMA areas he's kind of taken over. But if people don't know you, how can they work with you? And so our expert today is going to talk about how to get attention, how to understand branding and marketing, how to do this digitally, but also through traditional consumer-facing marketing strategies, billboards all over your town, billboards on your body, billboards in your office, billboards all over your content. And so some of you guys know Justin Mercer here is loud and proud with his marketing strategy. And let's get you on here and talk about how you became who you are today. Because I'm a little bit interested myself, because, obviously you're very eccentric as far as your marketing strategy and kind of your persona on how you portray yourself for the world, which I think is pretty cool. I think the world needs more unique people. But how does someone like Justin Mercer become Justin Mercer and get in front of me right now on this call? Give me kind of a run up on your childhood and any crazy stuff happened, or what kind of led you to be kind of who you are now, man?
Dude, it's crazy. People don't know this. I'm a huge introvert. So my whole growing up, like I was the shy kid, the one that I played magic cards in the cafeteria, got picked on in high school. Like I was that kid. Like I was the quiet. I'm still that, like when I go out, I'm the guy in the corner, people watching. Like I get really nervous. I do speaking events now and I'm like shaky. My voice is out. Like I don't get over it. Like I'm an introvert at heart. A lot of people don't know that. So All this has been this is 3 years of it doesn't feel real when I wake up. I pinch myself and it's crazy. And you said the word expert, and it goes to show I've been self-doubter my whole life. Like I've been my own worst enemy. I have no experience in real estate, marketing, branding, social media, business in general. I was a truck driver at the worst point of my life 3 years ago. So from where I'm at now to where just 3 years ago where I was, it shows anybody has the potential to be what you just said I am. I still don't feel it sometimes. So that's what I try to get across to all these now is everyone on this call or watches this, they have more potential than they even think they know.
Well, we're always way more self-critical, and it never can be the same as how we see ourselves inside our mind as how other people see us, because we live our life from inside. So we're also going to talk about real estate investing probably a little bit, but think about when you flip houses, you saw every single mess up, every single crack, you know every single tile that's a quarter inch off, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm never going to sell this house because I got all these little mess ups all your house. And then you're thinking it doesn't look great. The first couple buyers come in oh my gosh, I love the house. Meaning they have a different perspective because you're coming from a different information set. What you did coming up. Now it used to take probably more like 5 to 7 years to have massive or rapid success or catch a lot of attention. But because the world is so internationally connected through technology and social media, people can have meteoric rises in 12 to 18 months all the time. It happens all over the place right now. So don't think just because you don't have anything going on right now that in 2-3 years from now you can't be someone taking over the industry and getting a lot of attention and growing a successful business. Now, when it comes to marketing, how did you kind of get into this marketing kind of edge that you have here? Is you're all about the marketing, because you didn't really go from a classical background when it comes from marketing. And like, we've talked about this before. A lot of people think that you have to go the traditional path, school, college, get the marketing degree, and kind of go that plain vanilla route. But you didn't go that route. So how did you kind of get to where you got really aggressive with your marketing, and how did you come up with, just this louder personality that has caught all this attention?
So a lot of it, I joined the career in January 2020. It was kind of like when I got licensed. I was still working a full-time job. I was driving a semi. Like I said, like it was that whole thing's a story in itself. Like I was ruined 2 marriages, time with kids. Like I hated myself. It was to the point where I was going to kill myself. I don't want to be here anymore. Not because of, it's just like I didn't think there was more for me, and this lifestyle I was living and the job I had was ruining my life, and I couldn't get out of it. I was working 60-hour, 70-hour weeks. I ended up quitting to take a chance on myself in real estate with this brand that's never been done before. Like no one's really had their face and head and shit tattooed, and I was like real scared. But at the same point, I was like, I have nothing else to lose. So February 2020, I put my 2 weeks in. I was done. Had nothing in escrow, nothing going for me. Don't know anything about marketing, business, nothing. Like nothing. And I had the mindset where if this doesn't work out, life can get worse, and it's just this is probably the end for me. So and then March 2020, fucking COVID hit. So
now, I was gonna say, isn't that like right before COVID?
Yeah. So
good timing. Good timing.
I have no business, no pipeline, nothing, and now COVID. I sat down and like interviewed myself, and I came up with 6 steps that I was going to hit to start a successful business. And keep in mind, I have no business background. I don't know anything about business, but it was just stuff that I've seen and I think people think like. And I sat down and wrote them out in the 6 steps. Like the first one was the why. I won't touch on that long. It was just more finding a why that would push me. And it wasn't my kids. Like my kids were taken care of when I hated my life. Like I always provided for them. So they're never going to be my why. It was just to shut people up. Like there's a stigma on people with tattoos. Like there's no reason that people should be judging me that I can't do real estate just on my look. I get the stigma behind it, but I was trying to shut people up as in change the stigma, saying what you work for and what you work hard for. Like it doesn't matter what you look like. You're the same as everybody else. So I knew I'd just have to get a bigger portion of people, right? And not just focus on a small group. But the second step was, I think what I did better than anyone else and what got me my marketing tag was think like a consumer. Anything I do in my business, and I think like the consumer, and it's not like consumer, like it's consumer average, but people who relate to me, like people that relate to me, what would they think? So when I said I had no business starting in March, I didn't sit there and cold call because I knew 3 months later when someone meets me face to face, now I got to overcome this objection. I didn't door knock because I know as soon as they open the door, they're going to like wonder who the hell's at their door.
Right.
So when I say think like a consumer, I, as a consumer, bought and sold 2 houses. And I used the hot girl at the gym. Like she was the girl I used because she was pretty. I wanted her attention. She wore a real estate shirt, but that stuck out to me. So I know there's shit out there that sticks out to people. And then when I thought about it on social media, I had 8 people on my social media that were agents, like guys I played football with, went to high school with, a cousin. Like, why didn't I use them? Like I sold 2 houses, I bought 2 houses, and I didn't use my own people. Why? So instead of like assuming why, I went back to their Facebook pages at the time I was selling and buying a house. Like, why didn't they catch my attention? And 2 or 3 of them were like posting like food and kids that I'm not really active. The other 3 or 4 like were posting constant market updates, just listed, just sold, market median price in this city. It was all stuff that turned me off. And here I am, like as a consumer, I am actively looking at buying a home and I'm not paying attention to market updates. Why? And in my mind, I was like, it's probably because I assumed my agent knew what she was talking about. Like I didn't ask her credentials when I met her. I didn't ask her how many houses she sold. When I go to Steak 44 and I buy $100 ribeye, I don't go ask the chef his credentials to cook it or where the cow came from. Like I just assume it's good, right? And I assumed every person on my social media would be the same. They just assume I know what I'm talking about. So I just have to be active as far as pursuing that I'm busy. So thinking like a consumer and then leaning into social media with perception was the second genius marketing idea. And all that was I created a hot tub video. I had an open house and I was just like, I need clients now. Like I don't have a choice. It's like I got 2 kids. I have no business. I did an open house at a $3.2 million mansion. And I sat inside of a hot tub in a full suit with a glass of wine. in the hot tub, and I invited people like it was a Tinder video. I was like, "Oh, ladies, you love beautiful houses? Swipe right." And it was a joke. And she said, "Justice is for your open house, not for your Tinder." I was like, "Oh, my bad." Then I introduced the open house, but that open house was packed. Dude, it was jam packed all weekend. I had 50, 60 messages on DMs and messages of people saying, "Dude, how did you get that listing?" I mean, if you think like a consumer, they don't think they think it's my listing. Like agents knew it wasn't mine, but I'm not selling to agents. I'm selling to the average person. Yep. So instead of saying it's not mine, I would say, "Bring me a buyer." Like I can represent the buyer, right? So you got a buyer, you looking? And that was my approach. But seeing 50, 60 messages got me thinking like, shit, people are really into this, right? So the next week I did it at 900,000, 800,000. And now I'm getting messages left and right with people saying, "Dude, I didn't think you were serious. I thought it was a joke, the tattooed realtor. Like I thought this was a whole joke. I didn't think you'd be busy. I didn't think people would leave." So it was all perception, dude. I didn't have the business, but it looked like I was super busy. And I went from having 0 in the pipeline to closing 2 million the next month. So it all came from this idea I had of just thinking like a consumer and playing the role. Because this is someone's biggest investment they'll ever make in their life. Like they don't want someone who's brand new and keeps saying they're brand new and doesn't look busy on social media. So like I would write contracts and I wasn't writing them. I just did a little boomerang on my story saying, "Write another one." And it wasn't, I didn't have a buyer, but it looked like I had a buyer. And just from those 2 steps alone, like my business blew up.
So you create this persona, like up until like a February, you didn't have any tattoos all over you, and then you did all that, or you did that?
No, I had the tattoos.
Okay. That's what
I was branded. So I started my branding before I even finished school, and that was another thing, like a consumer moment. I used to have pest control and had a scorpion problem, and it kept coming back. And if you're from Arizona, like scorpions suck, dude. They're so scary looking. But I pulled up next to a truck. It's called Green Mango Pest Control. He has F-150s. They're lifted. They're matte black. They have bright green branding, huge, nice tires on them. And I looked at the truck and I said, "This guy must know what he's doing, right?" His businesses all have these kind of trucks, and these are not cheap. My dude has a cheap Toyota Tacoma. It looks like it's going to fall apart. But seeing him, I thought to myself, he must know what he's doing. He has a successful business. I'm going to call him. I've now been using them for 10 years, all from me seeing their truck at a light. So I knew coming into real estate, people weren't going to trust me. I wanted to look like I had a business. Plus, I didn't want to do open houses and have someone like walk into an open house. And my first objection overcoming is, "Yes, I'm the realtor that's supposed to be here." So when I tagged myself the tattooed realtor, like my car was wrapped, my open house signs were the same thing, the listing signs. I had a big 6-foot cutout at the door of me with my tattooed realtor shirt. And I was holding a sign that said, "Don't be alarmed by the big tattooed guy. Please sign in and take a look at the house." So now when they come in the house, they already know I'm the agent. I'm not overcoming that objection. I look more the part because this guy has his car wrapped. He's got T-shirts. I had him sign in with a tattoo machine that was converted into a pen. I had fake tattoo sleeves for the kids. Stickers, the open house signs, everything was branded to me. So, because in my mind, an average consumer walking in, I wanted them to know I was legit. And since I did that in my business, where I had from a truck, I'm now using this company for 12 years. I thought me looking the part, instead of having a Keller Williams branded sign out there, I'd have something to me. So that's the basic idea behind the branding too.
Well, as I start to look into you, and so like if it's just like a one snapshot, they saw a picture, it's gonna be a little more difficult. But because of social media and they can look into you and hear you speak, they're like, "Oh, this guy knows what he's doing." It's not like, oh, they're just having this own perception from a snapshot. They can actually look into you, and that's when they realize there's more behind the surface. Now, when it comes to anything in life that we put demand behind, that we either put up money or time to acquire or to be a part of or get proximity with, we're looking for things that are rare. So part of why I think, you create a lot of tension is because it's just unique that people are not used to seeing what you're doing. So why is a small diamond worth less than a giant in a big diamond? There's way fewer big diamonds than small diamonds. There's not a lot of, agents in your marketplace getting out there trying to create the tension like you are. Now, when the potential clients come to contact you, do you think that they're, just straight over the map all over, just every kind of background possible, or are they kind of more in kind of the background where they have tattoos and look like you already working with everybody? Because there's obviously a big enough market for every niche out there that you can build a successful business in. But how does it work out there, like with just, the average consumer? Do you think that it makes the conversations different, or is it no different, or you have any more conversations?
I think I thought only my sphere, and tattooed people, bikers, sports enthusiasts, like piercings. Like I thought those were going to be my clientele, because that's who I was going to hone it to, like people that would be more perceptive of me. So just my sphere alone. And then I put my cards and flyers in tattoo shops all around the valley.
Yeah.
Thought that was going to be my clientele. So what I see a lot of people doing is, but it was my clientele in a sense that they weren't using me the whole time, but they were also shooting me out left and right. So referral based, even my clientele, like that wasn't closing with me, they were sharing my shit all over social media.
Yeah.
So what I tell people, like no matter who you are, because I get that knock, who would trust him, right? Because my face is tattooed. A lot of people won't trust me. Cool. Like a lot of people won't trust you. A lot of people won't trust the pretty girl on my team. A lot of people won't trust the old dude on my team.
Everybody.
What happens is people get this mindset where they're not going to appeal to people. And even like people like McDonald's spends billions of dollars on marketing. They know the health kicks won't use them. They know vegans, vegetarians, people that are healthy, people that are overweight. Like they know a lot of people aren't going to get McDonald's, but they don't care. They're going for the mass, like create this image. Like when you're hungry, that's the first place you think of, right?
That's right.
In real estate, like I go for just my crowd. So a lot of people, no matter who you are, you're McDonald's, your face is tattooed, you're the pretty agent, you hit 33% of people. Like they're the people that are going to always use you, that love you. Then 33% of people will always hate you and never use you. And then 33% of people, they're just indifferent, but they're not out. They're not in or out. They're just indifferent in the background. But what too many people do is they change who they are to hit 66% or try to, instead of just leaning into their people. And that's what I did, is I just leaned in my people, the people that were making laughs, like the hot tub video. That had nothing to do with real estate. That was a Tinder video. I was just making people laugh. But bringing that emotion of laughter and like laughing, like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I had 25,000 views for an open house. Like, what open house video have you ever seen online that got 25,000 views? Right. So I was just leaning into my people know I'm funny. I've always been like a class clown. I've always had good humor. I was doing memes before real estate on social media. So those are the people I was trying to hit. And those are the people that pushed me out left and right. I had a video I did where I was in an S&M mask, like a stripper shirt and an S&M mask. Like that has nothing to do with real estate. But as many shares as that got online, I had 5 deals from that one video. One girl was a list and buy, and she didn't follow me, but somebody that shared it, she followed them. She reached out to me, and now I've actually done 4 deals with her, all from a video where she didn't even follow me. So it wasn't me leaning into these other people who may not use me. It was just me getting my own crowd to push me out.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand this. It's not about, I mean, it's good to create the right type of attention, but if you just create attention in general, if you have enough eyeballs on you, enough people looking at you, what do people have? They got a bank account and they have $1 attached to them. So you could sell a hamburger, shoes, real estate, insurance, it doesn't matter. The goal is to create the attention, because people buy things. People all have, an expense for whatever they're going to purchase throughout the year. So it doesn't really matter as far as like, in general, who you're reaching out to, just get as much attention as possible. And then the trickle down effect happens. Now I see a lot of introverted people, by the way, strong in marketing and strong in business. I'm also very introverted. I mean, I pretty much sit in my house by myself all day, every day. And I think a lot of that has to do with why you see creative approaches like yours, is because you have a lot of time to think. Whereas if you're constantly extroverted, you're always out there and everybody's always talking to you, you're really not actually slowing down to have creative preparation time and thinking about what you're going to do. But it's very common that you see that. And then also it's cool that you're open, like, I don't know, you kind of maybe know my story. I was in a very similar spot when I hit rock bottom, about took my own life. And that was kind of like this launching point of my business too, where it was very tough for me. And I felt, there was no worth living life going forward. And I was like, I'm going to swing for the fences and go for it one time. So I went through a very similar path, and telling your story, why I tell my story as well, helps a lot of people, because a lot of people are, especially post-pandemic, there's a lot of mental stress and, loss of hope and loss of faith, even though it's an illusion in the mind, we hold it in the mind. And so to hear stories like yourself and mine, and it really does help a lot of people. But tell me about Successful Misfits, and then let's go into some of the things you're doing with your marketing, like the billboards versus digital. And then we'll talk about your speaking circuit and kind of getting out there in person and behind the scenes on the speaking circuit, because I did the same thing. But let's start with Successful Misfits, and then kind of piggyback on strategies and, where you think the biggest value is coming from, and what do you think is the biggest growth for production, and maybe even your team or your investing business, and kind of where you think that's coming from.
Okay. Yeah. Successful Misfits is a group I created because I never thought I'd be successful in life. I never thought I could be worth anything. I was stuck at the job that ruined 2 marriages, that ruined my life, that got me to the point I want to kill myself, all because like I was afraid. I didn't think there was something out there for me. Like in my mind, I tattooed my head and face and all that, and no one's going to trust me ever. I'm never going to have a good job. I'm never going to be able to own a business. And that held me back from something, everything, to the point where I'm working 60, 70 hours a week because this is all I'm worth. Like I'm always going to be worth $20 an hour at this place. Like nobody else wants me. And that was like such a toxic mindset. And I remember driving back from a day at work, dude. It was a 15-hour day. It was 120 degrees outside. I had to like break down pallets and like wheel shit in. Like my shirt, I have to change my shirt twice during the day because it's full of sweat. My back hurts, my legs hurt. I'm fighting with my girl, so I got to go back home and deal with that shit after a 15-hour day. And I remember seeing a billboard on the side of the road, and it was for the tattooed lawyer. It said the tattooed lawyer, and he was on a billboard with a sleeveless cutoff, and his tattoos were showing. And I looked at that and I said, dude, that's who I would work for. Just that thought stuck out to me. So fast forward years later, I'm at this point in my life where I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. I need something to change. I always remembered that billboard and me saying, I wish, like, if that guy has a business, there's a chance for me. And I looked him up, and he started his career door knocking trailers. And now he's built this huge law firm. He's very successful here in Vegas. He has multiple law firms. But I took his exact approach. So I went, instead of a tattooed lawyer, I was a tattooed realtor. And I'm like, I'm going to do the same thing in the professional field where I'm just going to brand myself around my look. But had I never seen him or had him not have success, like, would I be here right now? Like, I would have kept going down that road I was constantly thinking about later on in life.
Right.
Instead of looking back at this moment saying, he did it, why don't you try to do it? Right. And what Successful Misfits is a group of entrepreneurs from any walk of life, any career, and they have the success. But every single one of them have a story where they should not have any success. They should be dead. They should be not around, or they should be going with this lifetime they had. And that's who I was. So our last speaker, he's worth like $50 million now. 5 years ago, he's a homeless meth addict. Like, how does this guy have a business? He was 5 years ago, he's homeless and addicted to meth. Like, how is he now? And he had the pack and swallow moment like I had. The guy before him, he did 12 years in prison. He spent all of his 20s in prison. Like, he doesn't know cell phones, women, jobs. And he's like, am I just good for construction jobs? Now he's a multimillionaire. So what Successful Misfits is it's a group of people that have stories from every walk of life. Like, we have an immigrant. He lived in a car. His parents picked strawberries from the field, and they lived in a car growing up. Like, he shouldn't have the success he has now. He's multi-million dollar business. He built it through like schooling and all that kind of stuff, but he has a background. And everyone, the single mom that has 4 kids and raised them by herself, or the wife that was married for 15 years and her husband said, you can never leave me because I'm the breadwinner, you'll never be anything without me. Like, these are all success stories in real estate and in entrepreneurship, period. Right. But a lot of people aren't out there telling everybody that. And there's so many people that relate to you, me, the prison guy. Like, we relate to everybody as a whole. And that's what the Successful Misfits is a group of people that are just put together to show other people, like, you're worth it. Like, as long as you can take the next step, you're worth it.
Yeah. It creates just hope and faith. I mean, people need hope and faith in any way they can find it. And so everybody loves a comeback, especially when, and if you think about it, it's like everybody that's not successful yet is a need to come back, because they're not there yet. So they're trying to find that end of the story. So we always have in any movie, anything that has a storyline to it, starting point, middle ground, ending. And if the ending hasn't happened, meaning you're not dead yet, you can change that story. You can change the ending. So it's not a movie. You're creating your own movie as you're going through it. So a movie's already got a preconcept. It's already filmed. It's going to end the same way every single time, but your life can change. And then when you see other people who had that trajectory where it's going this direction and it turned back and went the right direction, it gives you the motivation that it can be the same for you. So if you guys have that story out there, you need to get out there and tell it. Social media gives you the voice that you couldn't have otherwise a few years ago. So just get out there and tell your story. If you have one, you're going to motivate a lot of people. Now, I think it's great what you're doing, by the way. Now, as far as like the business side of things, you're doing a lot, like marketing wise. Your social media looks good. Your colors look good, but you're also putting billboards up in the town, which is traditionally, a lot of agents are going only social media, but you're going cars wrapped, traditional marketing, digital marketing, and hitting the circuits, going around speaking and building relationships behind the scenes, which is relationship marketing, network marketing in a different type of way, like what people would consider network marketing, but it really is a network marketing type of strategy, getting out there on the circuit speaking. So take those kind of three, like your cars and your billboards versus digital versus relationship marketing, and kind of give me your take on those three and how they relate, and what do you think is the biggest benefit, and do they all have to work together, or do you think one's better to focus on than other, or what do you help your agents focus on?
So for me in particular, they're all working together, is the fact that I'm trying to go like the local celebrity route. So growing up in Arizona, I know 5 lawyers' phone numbers by heart, all from commercials, jingles, ads. I know there's a jewelry store called Shane Company. I can tell you the exact location and how to get there because their jingle had the directions. Like it was a jingle memorized for directions. And I know these places like the back of my heart. I got married, and where do you think I went to get it rain? I went to Shanco. I've never been there in my life. It was 45 minutes away from my house, and I still went because to me, it was like the place that I grew up trusting because I've always heard this guy's radio jingle or the billboards I see about these lawyers, and they're very easy numbers to memorize. There was nothing in real estate like that. I asked everyone when I joined real estate, who's the most famous agent, not who's the best, who's the most famous? And everyone would be like, oh, they'd have to think, right? And there's one guy that most people say his name's Russell Shaw, but he's been doing it for 40 years. He had TV commercials, he has radio commercials, but I wanted to be that times 10. So I knew I wasn't going to call, door knock, do that kind of things, but I wanted to go the local celebrity route where I'm just becoming a name, because you can trust a name even if you don't trust me. But if I have this marketing platform and this notoriety, that's somebody you can trust because it's somebody who's actively marketing the area. Obviously, they're probably not a piece of shit, right? They at least have enough business to create the leverage for that. So my billboards are specifically just brand recognition. I don't go for value ads. None of them say I'll sell you home the most, buy through me. They're all attention based because I'm just trying to get the name out there and the brand out there. Typically ROI on the billboards, like companies can't even tell you. ROI companies or billboard companies really can't give you an ROI on billboards because most people they're leading to a website or phone number. And a lot of people, it's hard for them to memorize that because no one's going to drive by a billboard, see the number, memorize the number. It's just the brand recognition play for time and time and time again.
So
and,
sorry. No, I was just going to say, like in your market, like what's a typical billboard go for? Because in DFW, they're like 5,000 to 8,000 a month. And and give me your take on this. Like, is it worth it to do one billboard, or only worth it if you're blanketing the area and you're going to see them from different parts of the marketplace where they can create that repetition of the brand?
A billboard's only worth it, in my opinion, if you're going for a brand play, not a lead source. So to me, it's not a lead source, but it is a brand source. And for trustability, I would use one billboard alone because I'm going to play that thing out on social media like it's bigger than it is.
Right.
And I have something that I learned that through. But billboards here, they're usually 4,000 to 10,000 depending where you're at. I go on a rotating contract, which means if someone's willing to pay full price, I'll get taken down, but I pay a price that I can get rotated on. They used to give me a higher price, but from my attention getting billboards, they've had so many people reach out to them. Now they're like, when I make a billboard, they know it's going to get eyes and attention. So they hook me up fat. Like I got a billboard that would cost you $8,000 a month. It cost me $2,000 a month.
Nice.
Because I've gotten so much attention from them over the past 2 years that they hooked me up. But my first billboard was like a basic billboard. It wasn't something that was like eye-catching and funny. And I was getting shit for it. Like there's agents that were talking shit. There's people posting and talking shit. They're like, I can't believe this is a thing. And I'm like, dude, I have a smile on a billboard and people are still dogging me. Like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just go for the funny factor and get everyone looking at this thing cracking up? Because the people, and that goes back to that 33% rule. Like I can have a smile on that billboard saying I'll save the most on the home and I'm still going to turn people off. And I could have that on 40 billboards across the valley. And the same people that don't like me and not going to use me are still going to talk shit about the billboard, no matter how much business I have. So I stopped from the regular message and value proposition and just getting my foot in the door. And I was just going for the eyes. And the first billboard I did that with, I started thinking they charge me this per drive-by, right? For cars that drive by. What they don't take into consideration is social media aspect. And not a lot of billboards I don't know any billboards here that have an Instagram on the billboard. So my first billboard I did that with was the NSYNC one. You ever seen the NSYNC like CD cover where they're like marionette balls?
Yeah. I remember,
So I put my face on all their bodies and that song Bye Bye Bye. I did that, but I put BUY, BUY, BUY. So the very top of the billboard said bye, bye, bye. My face is on all their bodies. And it said, are you not in sync with your living situation? Let's talk.
Good. I like it.
And that idea, I put my Instagram on it. That thing, like I'm getting charged for the drive-bys, but they didn't take, like I've had like 300, 400 shares on that billboard, people taking a picture, whether it was positive or not. They took a picture of it, put it on their story or their Instagram. Like the Walter White one I have now, I was on their fan page of, it had like 700,000 clicks on it for a billboard here. But it was all because it's an attention-based thing. I wasn't going for the value prop. I was just going for like people looking at like, what the fuck? And then they look at my Instagram. They tag me on it. Now I got a bunch of people curiosity clicking on my Instagram from a billboard that's supposed to get generated leads to your website. So it was but now I go anywhere in the valley. I've been doing it for 2 years. Everyone knows me by the billboard. It's like, oh, you got the billboard here. You got the billboard here. So it was a brand play, not like really a lead gen.
Well, I think I think it is. So like there's two different ways to grow your business. You can grow it by increasing the number of leads, or you can do it by increasing the conversion rate. So let's say you have 1 out of 10 leads coming in for whatever business. Let's say you have X amount of money, X amount of time that generates 10 leads a month and you close 1 out of 10. That's 1 out of 10 conversion rate. So if you ask someone how to double their business, most would say, I have to generate 20 leads so I can get 2 out of 10 or 2 out of 20. But what happens there is you have limitations with time and money. You can't, what if you don't have any more money to put into the business to scale it? So the only way you can grow at this moment is to increase the conversion rate over here. So let's say those same 10 leads come in, but we get better because of our communication skill sets or credibility marketing in the marketplace, where now we can get 2 out of 10 or 3 out of 10. Now, what creates credibility is anytime you have a microphone in front of you, anytime you're on a book cover, anytime you're on camera, anything that puts you, like on stage speaking is a credibility hierarchy situation. Now, so I think that the fact that you're putting billboards out there, it's not able to be faked. So like I think with social media, we're losing kind of this allure of real. We're losing what's real and what's not. And like anybody can go lease a Lamborghini for a photo. Anybody can put fake money in a picture. Anybody can do lots of these things. They can, fake a one night. But what you can't do is you can't fake destinations. You can't fake, standing on top of an Alaskan glacier, with photos flying out there with helicopters. You can't fake having an actual billboard that costs a lot of money that people know takes a big expense to run the business up in a local city. So when people drive by and they take that, you can't fake it. So I think that has a big part of the credibility side, the real side, that creates a lot of the attention because they know there's money behind it. And it's not just, you're just putting a random post on the internet. It's just, you just created it. It's really up there in your real city. And I think that's helping a lot, where it kind of increases that credibility component of it. What's kind of your take on that with social media? Like what's real and what's not? And are we losing kind of like is there too much fake out there and it's kind of hurting people, or what's your opinion on all that?
Yeah, like kind of like you said about the billboards and stuff. It showed credibility a lot because I had one billboard. That was my very first one, and blasted all over social media. All my friends think I'm a millionaire. Like from one billboard, everyone thought I was this millionaire. But now I start getting more serious people talking about me because they were like, oh shit, I didn't think this was real. And I got a billboard. Just that perception alone, like you could sell 2 houses a year. You put a billboard up there, people think you're a millionaire. So that perception play really does stick out with me through a lot. Social media, like now, especially with the blue check mark and followers and views, I think too many agents are trying to impress too many agents, and they're like losing the consumer base.
I agree.
I got people that everyone needs to understand real estate's fucking boring. No one gives a shit about real estate outside of real estate. Nobody. The only people that care about real estate is real estate agents and lenders. Like that's it. If you have a video on a house tour and you're getting 200 views on it and you're unhappy, so you're trying to change things about your business to make that go away, it's because you're comparing yourself to Ryan Serhant, or you're comparing yourself to me, or you're comparing to someone in your office who's buying the views or buying the likes. In reality, an average home walkthrough is going to get a minimum amount of people that care. You're never going to go viral on it. But people are afraid to do it because they're afraid of the view count. Like YouTube is huge, like Mike and you, like with this YouTube platform you guys have, it doesn't matter. Even me, I have a great presence in the local market. I have a great presence on Instagram. My YouTube's weak. I just started it. I just started it when I met you guys. But I know if I have a view on YouTube that's 200 views, those are 200 very purposeful views. That's something I'm not going to go out and buy views for, because like the 200 people that viewed this video, A, they're subscribed to me, or B, they were in a search platform, because we teach people how to do the keyword search and the title and the description all to match to get your best possible ability to get in the views.
Mhm.
So I know they're purposeful views. What too many agents are doing right now is they're buying likes, they're buying likes, they're buying followers, they're buying views. Like now, if I go on your page or so-and-so's page and I see they have 40,000 followers, I'm like, dude, you're a fucking real estate agent in Ohio. Like, how the fuck you have 40,000 followers? You have no kind of presence in TV, radio, like none of that. And then I look at the picture, I'm like, your picture of an ad you put up of an open house has 4,000 likes and it has one comment. Like you're discredited yourself.
Right.
In my opinion, it's because you're trying to impress too many people and that's going to hurt you in the end, because your end goal for social media, I view social media as something different. So here we have Zillow, OfferPad, Open Door, 72 Sold. These are multi-billion-dollar companies that are spending $2 million, $3 million, $10 million a month on marketing. Like, I'm never, ever, ever going to be able to touch them. Why am I even trying, right? But I know if I have an Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, I will get more followers than they ever will. Like, no one's going to follow Zillow. No one's going to go to Open Door's page and like their photos. Like, I know on a platform where all my clients have had social media, this is my platform to be Zillow, OfferPad, Open Door. Like, that's who I am on social media instead of trying to be that. But too many people are doing it the wrong route, dude. They're just trying to get the fake shit and they're discrediting themselves.
Well, you said something in there about, you said I had to go back and watch it, but you said something about people creating content not for the consumer but for other agents, and this is a big problem. I mean, you see people out there and doing these videos where they're dancing all weird and they're doing all these crazy little things, and it's just like, if you removed yourself from this and you took yourself out of yourself and you said, if I'm a buyer or seller, just a random John Smith in the marketplace, would I come across this and would this make me think this is someone I want to go into sell my house or represent me buying a house? Probably not, right? So they're more trying to create attention within the community, but they're trying to build a business. So I think it's becoming a big problem. I think people are creating content because they're going so fast. They're not slowing down to think about it. They're not thinking of what would be the outcome coming from this before I create it. They're just creating something because they had an idea quickly and they're just posting it, but they're not really creating content. Most people now that can convert for a business, they're doing it in a way that just kind of like trying to catch attention in the feed. I don't know.
How long have you been in real estate?
I got in real estate like right around like 2013, 14-ish, started at least in the investment world. So I started out, I didn't get my license until going into 2018, like right as 2018 started. So I was full-time in the business for about 4 or 5 years before I got, maybe a little bit longer, maybe like 2013 going into 2014.
So I had a podcast interview with a lady I know here named Shivani. She's been in the business for like 20 years. She's had and maintained a great business for 20 years. At my old office, there was 4 or 5 teams where the team lead has been in the business for 10, 15, 20 years. Every top agent I know have had a business for 30, 40 years. And when I had her here, I was like, what do you think about social media? Do you think it's a double-edged sword? Because I can arguably say I should have a better career than you'll ever had in your past, because I can hit 20 times more people than you ever had in your past, because now I have a platform that pushes me out nationwide to everyone all over the place. Whereas you had to do open houses, call, and referrals to get your clients. You had to do it at a much slower pace. But nowadays, people are only doing social media and they're thinking this business is going to come. So I think it's a double-edged sword in the fact that you have the ability to reach more people than any agent ever had in their career. But if you flip the sword around, you're spending too much time prospecting not right now business, and you're losing the focus of right now business, which is the cold calling, the prospecting, the lead follow-up, the CRM, the open houses, like everything that generates right now business. Everyone forgets is still the business. And this is why people have lasted for 30, 40, 20 years. And that's why there's an 85% fail rate in the industry, is because you forget it's a prospecting based industry. And you're thinking you doing a TikTok pointing at fucking words is going to like bring in all these buyers, and it doesn't. So like, I think social media now, that's why I love our group so much, is because we teach real estate and how to do it better, incorporating social media, but we also teach how to do social media, because you have to bounce it. Like, you have to have the the trap setting, which is social media and marketing, and you have to have the hunting, which is the prospecting.
Yep.
If you're just trying to hunt, you're going to struggle. If you're just trying to prospect or set traps, you're really going to struggle. Like you have to do them both and have to intermix.
Yeah, I agree. I get it all the time. People are like, what should I be doing? Should I be doing just YouTube or should I be just doing this? And it's like, first off, like everything's going to work if you work it enough. So the first thing is like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you hear something like direct mail or billboards or whatever, if you've heard it through an echo effect enough, it's going to work. It's more, will it work for you? Meaning, do you see yourself getting on camera? Because if you don't see it as a brutal pushing against resistance, it's not going to work. But same thing with cold calling. Some people love to cold call. They'll slam the phone all day, but they'll never get on YouTube. Vice versa. Some people put videos out all day, but they'll never pick up a phone or go door knock. So the first thing is figure out what you're comfortable with and what you can see yourself doing, and then do that and do it in volume, and then try to find a way to do it digitally. If you're not, I mean, you got to be out there somewhere on the digital footprint, but I use a combination of, traditional strategies and social media strategies. So I think it's important to do both, but you should have a primary, probably social media strategy, and a primary non-social media strategy as your main one, and then have a couple sub ones that kind of trickle into the other business. But what would you say like your main focus is with both, like social media, your main platform, and then the main thing you're doing off that? And then let's go into kind of like the speaking events and things like that you've been doing.
So I'm mostly social media based, just because if I look back at my business, 75% of my business over the past 3 years has been social media. So 75% of my business comes from social media. Instead of like, I'm not a caller and door knocker. If I'm putting this much time and sharing 75% of business, I'm not going to now take away from here to try to pour into here to raise it up. I'm just going to try to raise this up even more. But like I use Suman as he's a perfect example. When I tell new agents that are coming to me, and a lot of them coming to me for the marketing and social aspect with our Wolfpack hub. And I tell people all the time, like, we have this Suman. What he did in his first year is absolutely insane for YouTube. Yeah. And I say, are you going to have that same success? Probably not. That's an anomaly. But why can't you do the same exact thing he did and get 5, 6, 7 more deals a year? And that's the whole point. The purpose of it is like, are you going to be him on YouTube? Shit, I hope so, but it's an anomaly, right? But why can't you do the same exact thing he did at a smaller scale? So if you already have a business where you're doing 7 or 8 a year and you're coming to me to add that, just this one aspect alone, there's no reason it shouldn't add you 6 or 7 more deals. It got somebody 67 million in production his first year.
It's crazy.
So that's what I think the biggest thing is, that just the different routes of finding balance. And a lot of people, either us in particular, whether you're a brand new agent that needs to know the business, or you're an agent that is successful, but you're worth more, you can be more. Like, we appeal to everybody because we have the programs and the people that will help you grow with what you want to do. But a lot of it comes with balancing, and a lot of people don't know how to do that.
So are you able to track, like, so are you doing a lot on like TikTok and stuff? I figured you blow up on like TikTok.
Well, a lot of it, I did. I had a huge TikTok. I had like 4 TikTok videos with over 1 million views. But they were all just being funny. It was just me being funny. I joined that stupid creator thing, and as soon as I joined that for real estate, like my views went to shit, and now my TikTok's dead pretty much. A lot of my business is social media from Facebook and Instagram, and a lot of it's clients or people that just share my stuff. And a lot of the investment side that we get from social media is agent referrals. Yeah. I'm so active on social media about the investment side too.
So like, I come from the investment background. It's tough, like when you're trying to think about what content to put out. So for example, like if I put a video out on bandit signs, it's going to get thousands of views guaranteed. But if I put something out like on creating a note and selling a note and understanding, yields and like interest rates, that like I get like almost no views because people don't understand it. It's kind of weird when you think about like the different types of content that people put out. So like, what's your take on putting out content that is going to get like just a ton of views, but probably is not going to convert to business, versus, putting out something that is going to convert to business, but we were talking about earlier, may not get a lot of vanity metrics, may get fewer views, because there's all sorts of stuff I can do that can go get just a ton of views on like short form TikTok. But how is that going to turn into actual like a client or agents come in our business? It's just going to get a bunch of attention. I think this is what a lot of people are chasing, which is they want the vanity metric and the attention, but it's never going to turn into business. But they're like, oh, well, at least people think I'm successful. But How do you go about that? Because there's only so much time and money you can put into each day. And like, you have to think about these things because I'm sure you have ideas that there's like, sure, get a ton of views, but it's probably not going to be converting. And then it's kind of a
So
weird
I'll go
topic.
on two different aspects on that. One, story, and one, post. So stories are big, and I think they get forgotten. Stories are the shit that you think will turn people off, but you can still put in their head every single day. Like, is it going to get the vanity metrics on a post? Absolutely not. Is it going to get people to watch it all the way through? No, it's probably going to make your page look stupid if you're doing certain stories and you're trying to convert them into like a reel or something. But stories need to be posted every freaking day. It's the only thing I think should be posted every day. Like, I don't believe in the posting on your page every day. I believe in posting on stories every day. But like, for example, agent referrals for buying homes cash. Like, my biggest resource for when I buy a home cash is an agent referral network of them sending me their homes for me to make a cash offer on before they ever list them, before they even get an ER signed. But I know, because I've done it before, like I post in words on my story and colorful shit, I'll buy homes cash, send me everything, right? Nobody responds to them. No one swipes up, do hard eyes. Like, no one does it. And I don't want to turn people off, because we all have those people that we skip by their stories, right? The story comes up and you automatically know to skip because you know what they're going to be doing. I don't ever want to be that. So if I posted every single day in Word format, I'll buy your home cash, people are going to get used to it and start skipping my stuff. So what I did is I take that same approach, but in a different way. So I started doing movie posters, and I put my face over the actor's body and use the movie poster. And like, one of them was Titanic, and I put my face over Leonardo's body, and it says, "It's your home, a Titanic piece of shit. I'll buy it cash." That post, when I put it on my story, now has 400 hearts, 30 response, like not 30, there was like 70 or 80 responses. There was a shit ton of hearts of people just liking the story. And I know they're paying attention to it now, right? Because it's the same exact message, but I did a different approach to put it across because I don't want to turn everyone off and get used to skipping my stuff. So I'm always putting stuff in stories that's going to keep a viewer engaged. As far as on my page, what became popular last year was those talking head reels, where it's like you or me in a car and I'm just driving and I'm talking about investments and what you said, bandit signs, right? I'm just talking about bandit signs and how they're great for your business. And they're just like the keywords that pop up, right? The captions. And I'm just giving, all it is like giving value, making you look the part and making you look legit. But what I started doing is those videos, you see the lady that clapped her leg together and spit out water in between her thighs and it hit me in the face. Like doing stuff like that, it's the same thing. It was a talking head video and I'm giving tips of marketing, right? So I did marketing tips, and I knew the average consumer, if they just saw me against a white video and I'm just a white background and words, I'm just talking about marketing tips, they're going to turn off. But I got their attention with that water splashing hit me in the face. They're now laughing like, what the hell is this? Now I'm giving the value prop, my marketing tip, right? And it interrupted me and did it again. I did something funny to keep them engaged on the video so they don't turn off. And that was a talking head video. If I was in front of a white wall with words, it would have got me 400 views. Because no one cares about that. You're boring them at that point. Right. But me doing it the way I did it had 50,000 views, and it got shared hundreds of times on people like sharing my story, and that's why I had so many views. So it's taking the same message you want to deliver, but you need to figure out how to deliver it to the right people the right way. So especially if you're an agent struggling with reels and content, like, who are you trying to get? Are you trying to get agents? Are you trying to get investors? Are you trying to get the average consumer? Trying to get the average consumer, you have to get their attention within the first 3 seconds, or they're going to scan by it. Then you have to have a reason that so if they're an average consumer wanting a first-time homebuyer program, like how Mike teaches the YouTube videos, you got to tell them within the first 10 seconds what exactly they're going to get this whole entire video to keep them engaged within the first 10 seconds. So on Reels, it's the same thing. If you got a great dope home tour, you're going to say, hey, do you know you can afford this? You can take your approach as soon as the video, like, scan a fucking nice house, like for 2 seconds to come back and say, did you know that you may be a first-time home buyer, but you can afford this? And then you show the home again. And then during that, you're talking about the home. Like, that is going to keep more attention than any other video for the right crowd you're going for. So I just try to teach people, sometimes it is the messaging you're bringing across, but the way you're putting it across it's not clicking with people.
Right. So as we're coming to the end here, so, you've done a great job with creating the marketing, which created a lot of attention, which led you to doing some speaking events and things like that. So for a lot of the agents that want to try to recreate your process, give your take to them, like your opinion on how important kind of getting behind the scenes and getting on the circuit. Has that led to some strong relationships? Has that led to business? And should that be a goal of theirs, or kind of, doesn't have to be yes or no? I mean, just like your own take on this, because a lot of people, want to get behind that scene. And, I know when I got on the speaking circuit, it opened up a lot of opportunities for relationships with, serious good mentors that had been in the business before me and things like that. So kind of give me an idea of, all that you're doing out there on the speaking circuit, because I've seen you on stage at a few places recently, and whatever your take is on all that for the agents.
My first speaking event was like my first 6 months in the business, and they flew me out to Vegas to speak to this group of 100 people, and I'm an introvert. I'm like, dude, and I had imposter syndrome. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do it. I'm not that guy. That one event, I had someone fly me out. I had them pay for my hotel. They paid for my food. I had 100 people in this room listening to me. I replayed the videos all over social media. Now I look credible. People like, dude, you're speaking, doing all the credibility factor I got from that was humongous. To the fact that, I was nervous. I didn't want to do it. Like, I ain't even been on a plane before, dude. So it was like really scary. But the credibility factor and the networking, the people I met, the ability to use it all through social media and repurposing it. Mike, when I joined EXP, joined the Wolfpack, Mike, I hated EXP for 2.5 years. How did I hate EXP for 2.5 years? And Mike talked to me for 20 minutes and I was sold. I joined within 20 minutes after hating it for 2.5 years.
Yep.
He did it because he sold me on me. He didn't sell me on the company. He sold me on my ability of what I could do at the company. So he said, I've been following you for over a year, hoping you would never do TikTok, or hoping you would never do YouTube, and hoping you never join EXP, because that's how I make all my money. Those words alone, was like, oh shit, why is this guy not wanting me to join? So, and he showed me that. He said, dude, I think you'd kill it on YouTube, and I think you'd kill it with your content with EXP as far as getting a nationwide network. So I wouldn't have met people like Mike. I met him at a speaking engagement. So just being on the circuit and the relationships I've created, and the different avenues I went down my career is going to be forever life-changing, because you're not just stuck in one platform. Now you have the ability to meet agents nationwide to recruit, or to partner up on investment deals nationwide. I'm buying homes in states I've never been in because I've created relationships in those states. So I think just joining a circuit but you're also around, you are who you hang out with. If you're around billionaires and millionaires and you're going to these events where people are a success and they're teaching every single step, as long as you take it within yourself to follow those steps, you're learning from the best you can.
Yeah. And also, it's just you get in proximity with them and you realize they're not that much different than I am. They're just a little bit ahead of me, and they're just a lot like me. And some of them are pretty cool and welcome you in open-handed. But as we're kind of wrapping this up, maybe give your take to everybody on the way out here, just embracing fear and going up against it. Because, to take a leap of faith like you did and go out there with that brand, and also just to travel to an event and speak when you are introverted, because I know what that's like. If people only knew, I remember when we were speaking at EXP Con, Mike and I are backstage, and he's a little nervous, but everybody gets nervous in general. But I was, I get nervous because I'm very introverted. I basically live in my room by myself. And Mike's like, I love this. I'm so pumped up. And I'm sitting there, I can hear my heart pumping through my feet, getting ready to go in front of all these people. But you just have to do it. You just can't, you just have to take risks. You have to go for it, and you have to overcome the fear. So maybe give your take and some motivation or any last message on the way out to some of these agents that have these ideas that are kind of sitting on them, and where you knew what you needed to do, but you kind of didn't do it probably right away. Everybody kind of holds off a little bit, and then just to go for it. Or any advice for them. And then go ahead and give you a chance to plug all your anywhere you want to send people, websites, links, and we'll put all that below here for them.
Yeah, so you're always going to be your own worst enemy, and you're going to hold yourself back more than anyone else will ever hold you back. And unless you're willing to do it, it's not something what you can say and someone's going to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and do it. It's just, it comes down to the fact that if you don't do it, if you don't ever get uncomfortable, you'll never be comfortable with someone. I tell agents that don't have any right now business, they don't want to do social media, they don't want to do anything. They're like, oh, I'm like, hey, I don't want to call. Cool. You're going to have to call until you don't have to call anymore. If you want life change, you have to change in order to get change. Right. You can't just talk to yourself about it unless you're willing to take the next step. And it could be baby steps. You can put plans together for baby steps, but until you're ready to get uncomfortable, you're never going to be comfortable with what you're uncomfortable with. And once I started getting over myself, and one person was a direct reason I changed my life. And I never had a conversation with that one person. I don't know for a fact, but seeing this guy's billboard could have saved my life, because he showed me I could do more with my life and my look. So if I'm on stage, I'm not trying to appeal to everybody. I have a message for a reason. They're asking me there for a message for a reason now. And I'm just going for one person. If I can say something within this 45 minutes that's going to directly help one person change their life, that's all I'm going for now. So I put my guard way down as far as speaking of engagements, and just knowing there's 100 people here. I know I'm going for one. That's it. So that's what helped me get my guard down, instead of trying to, because we all think we have to impress everybody, right? Like, what am I going to do to that? I'm going to impress every person in this room. And I stopped worrying about that. I just started worrying about one person.
Well, when you start thinking like that, where you know that if you just take a few words, put them in the right order, and speak with the right emotion behind it, you could literally change someone's life with one sentence. It happens all the time. For me personally, it was just one person, Napoleon Hill, when I came across one recording of his, just that one moment, you hear me tell my story, completely changed and shifted my trajectory from that one moment. So if you guys are, coming up and you are getting out there, just realize that your story's powerful, that, you may not have 20 million followers, but you may have enough that people are watching you, and you should be surprised. You could be surprised how just one sentence or one set of words out of your mouth could massively impact the life of someone that you don't know. And usually what happens, especially Justin probably knows this, as he goes on his transition or goes forward in his social media career, you're going to meet people that came across you like 2 years ago, start applying stuff. And then 2-3 years down the road, you're going to meet them at an event or airport. And they're like, hey man, when I came across your stuff like years ago, it led me here. I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't. And so like, if it wasn't for you. So just know that just because people don't tell you today, that keep putting the content out, keep doing it with intent, don't slack on it. Come from a good part of your heart, do it in a way that you're trying to help people, because people do watch it. Just because you're not getting the direct feedback today, a lot of times when I thought I was not helping a lot of people, years later, I found out I was helping a lot more people than I thought I was. And so just keep that mentality. And that, I got nothing else. Do you have any last words you want to kind of leave out on this with?
Yeah. I'm going to start so Mike's helping me start 2 new YouTubes. So I have one YouTube. I was like kind of balancing things. And he's like, dude, just cut it, keep one for this, and then create a different one. So I'll have 2 different YouTubes. But if you go to Instagram, Call Tattoo, I'll put all the links in there once it's all done. But like, whether you want to be like the successful misfit crowd and tune into that stuff, or just agent and consumer focused, like I'll be on YouTube and Instagram all the time.
And if you guys stumble across this and you want to hop on a call with Justin, Mike, and I talk about coming on over here to EXP, do that, and I'll probably get you back on here. We'll talk. We'll go at some point. We'll do an investing call or something like that, where we're going, because you're doing both sides of business. But I thought today would be better just to go to general entrepreneurship and marketing, just because that's kind of where I think a lot of people see you as that kind of your main thing right now. But we'll do like an investing podcast. We'll do something like that. I'll maybe start my Investor Army podcast back up. I don't know, and maybe I'll talk about. We'll deal with that on the next one. But I'm gonna get all your stuff, guys. If you want to check them out, click in the links below. That's how you're going to find them. And other than that, Justin, appreciate you, man. And you did a great job. And thanks for sharing what you're doing. Thanks for doing what you're doing for all the people in your life and your organization. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good day. Peace. Cool. Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When are you going to launch these?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to batch about. So like I got way behind during the pandemic and had a lot of crazy stuff happen. And I got behind on a lot of stuff. So like now what I'm doing is I'm getting way ahead on stuff. So I'm batching like probably 40 podcasts before I even start posting them, just so I don't get caught to where I feel like I'm strung thin at the lifetime moment of it. But I'm going to start posting these probably next month. So I've already done about 10 or 11, I think. So I'm going to get to about 40. So I'm doing about 3 or 4 a week. And I'm going on. So I've slated to go on over 60 podcasts in the next 3 months, where I'm already on the schedule. So like, I'm about to get out there and do a bunch of podcasting. And I think you should try to get out there and do as many as you can, because you should go on as many and get on as many as you can. Even Cardone says he goes on one podcast a week that's under 1,000 subscribers, just because like we're talking about the power of small numbers turns into big numbers. And you don't know if that one person on that 300 views was a closet billionaire, the exact person you need to get in front of. And also just, he knows that if he goes on a small channel, it could help grow that small channel. And then guess what happens if he helps grow that small channel for that person? Do you think when they get big, they want to come back and work with Grant or do business with Grant later? So he's very, he's smart on that, because most big audiences, they won't go on a small audience channel. But as many as you can get on, the better. But I try to get
just look them up and send a message to them.
A
lot of people reach out to me, but I don't ever reach out to anyone else.
Yeah, the way that you're going to get on a lot of podcasts is just to start So if you have people on your podcast, naturally the way they're going to have you back on their podcast. So like that's kind of how Mike and I got connected. He was watching because Mike was working with a lot of investors at the time. So he was watching my investing channel to learn how to work with them. So he reached out to me originally. And then when I went on, so it's proper etiquette to reciprocate. So as long as you don't totally butcher it, they're going to have you back on theirs. That's the fastest way. The second way is that once you do start getting on other people's podcasts, people are looking for good podcast guests. So just, you're not going to bring fire every time, but if you do a decent job, people are going to just be like, oh, there's another person, and they're going to say, I saw you on so-and-so's podcast. Would you come on mine? So that's going to start the door, mentioning it on your social media. Hey guys, look, I've been doing all this content, but I've been having a lot of fun doing podcasts lately. And hey, I'm down to go on anybody's podcast right now. Just hit me up. You want to guess, and just let people know that you're open to doing so. Because what's crazy is I have to say it on like the mastermind calls. I've had a few people in the team where they're like, didn't even want to reach out to me to go do their podcast. And I'm like, dude, why not? Like, of course I'm going to do your podcast. Even if you have like 50 views, you're part, but people won't reach out to you. So like, if they don't know that you're open to going on their podcast, like a lot of people would want you on their podcast if they thought that you'd go on it. And so you got to remove yourself from your negative self-reflection beliefs that you've carried throughout your life on yourself, and remind yourself how you're perceived by the community at the moment. They see you as unique and coming up and creating a lot of attention. They're going to want you on there. And then what I'm doing now is I got to a point where my time's limited. So in the beginning of business, you have no money. So you're using your time to create money. And as you get a little bit further on, you have a little bit more money than time. And so I actually hired a podcast team just to set to get me on some of these different ones in the entrepreneurship space, because I can get on the like real estate ones pretty quickly, but I'm trying to get in. So like one of my goals long term is venture capitalism. So I'm going to be investing in startups and different things like that. So I actually hired a company. If you want, I can introduce you to them, and they can get you on a bunch of podcasts. But you're going to have to pay. It's like $200 a show or something like that. But so having a podcast, getting people come on here is probably the fastest way organically to do it. And just doing a good job on podcasts out there as you go on more and people see you on that podcast circuit. Same thing that happened with you on like the speaking circuit. Probably you went to one event and then some other people that were also speaking at different events, that it connected you to next events and things like that. But if you want to accelerate the path and you want to drop some money on it, you can just get in front of them. And then once you get on all those, you only have to do it like once, and people will start having you on there after they see you on all these shows.
How many people you have in your downline right now?
Almost 2,700.
Oh, 2,700. Shit. Okay.
Yeah. So
we're building out, because I just started recruiting. Like I just went more heavy into it just because I had so much shit I was balancing and building out here. I think we're at like 23 now, but we're creating what you guys don't have, because we figure if we create it and we can put it with the hub, that the two guys who are creating it, they'll start being able, like Mike and you, start being able to put people underneath them instead, because it's all the stuff that Mike usually refers away to some of the other groups, like Josh Beer, those guys, or Dan Beer. They're so good at scripting and cold calling. Like I told them, you need to put a platform where you have a mastermind, you have weekly things, create the scripts, create a YouTube channel where they're showing their calls in live format. They're calling people live, so you can go through live and hear them. So we're trying to create this hub with the Wolfpack Hub too, that people can plug into and learn the prospecting stuff heavier.
Just value stack it. So like so I always look at like gaps and leaks because like you can only see, so like the analogy of like a golf swing, if I swing a golf club, you and I can both see how the ball was hit and where it went, but only you can see my swing. So I can't see how my swing looked, but we can both see the shot. And so kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with that, but what were we just talking about?
They're trying to build it out so we can recruit with that, like all the stuff. Because now if they join the Wolfpack, they'll have all that stuff. They'll have these guys' prospecting stuff. Yeah. So
so what I was saying is, because I have something to come in there. We can't see a swing, but you can see the swing from your partners above you, meaning what's missing, what gaps can be filled in, where it can plug in. So it's just a value stacking. And then if you get people to value stack on top of you, so let's say like, I came in first, and then Mike came in, try to fill in some gaps, and you're filling in the gaps between us, and you're going to have your agents, your rock stars come up and fill gaps between. So eventually there's just mass value but you also have to let people know it can get overwhelming because there's so much stuff coming in. So what I tell people is like, look at it as a buffet. Look at it as everything you get, go through it. Don't just start going into stuff, walk the buffet, because what if you find out lobsters at the end of the buffet and you fill it up with junk stuff? So I tell everybody when they onboard, go through all the EXP's back office, go through all the Wolfpack, look at what you have, and then decide what you want to start using. You don't have to use it all. Definitely don't have to go to it all, because that way you're taking away their performance anxiety, meaning feeling like they have to plug into everything, because they don't, but also letting them know that like, hey, you have a lot, that don't just start digging into something right away because you may have wanted to put time into here first. So it's good just to like let them know everything they have, take the pressure off, knowing they don't have to use it all, but also decide what works best for them within what they have. And then as you start to see your agents say, hey, I wish we had this, I wish we had that, you can start to cater towards your specific organization, what the demand is for the value that they want in the future going forward.